Good
And
morning.
good day. Welcome to the Zachtronics Man vs. Machine Showmatch. We have got at the other end of the line Mr. Showmatch Leaderbot or Martin Royerkes himself. Hi Martin, how are you?
Hello, the bot. Hello, Nepta, I mean, and hello, the bot in the game itself. Okay, so this is the show match part of the Zachtronics Man vs. Machine Team League. I took some bots that played in the Team League and some human players that played in the Team League as well. And now I pitted them up against each other. I'm going to show some of those replays for you today. And in this case, it's my bots. And I'm not going to spoil too much, but it's already mentioned in the chat, which you can see on screen soon enough. But my bot is going to go for a little bit of a risky strategy. I'm going to see how a like C minus player deals with it, and the next replay is how a C that's like a C plus player deals with it, and then you can see the difference between the play style of human player that's kinda okay at the game, and someone who's like very top level.
Okay, so that's a bit of an issue because last year at the student StarCraft tournament we did a show match versus a semi-pro player from Russia, Gem5, and he slaughtered every bot, so perhaps this will be more interesting and more representative of an average player, do you think?
Yeah, Neustad definitely, but Fisheye is already getting quite good, really. Gem 5 is like an A-level player, and
Yes.
Fisheye is more of a C+, so there's still a huge gap between them.
Hmm.
Just like there's a huge gap between bots and top-level Koreans, of course.
Yeah, that's no comparison.
Yeah. So, but anyway, right now my bot is of course building a wall. It's known for doing that. It's got the A-star algorithm used for that. It's also sending out a scout, which is currently blocked by the barracks.
Oh yeah, that's a
Yeah,
pity.
yeah, but it passed away around it because every bot still uses the built-in pathfinding. You can of course roll out your own um, movement system, but you still have to use the in-game pathfinding. You can only send unit commands. You cannot have complete control over the game. You cannot cheat that way.
No. Oh, that's also good. And perhaps that's also one of the reasons that the APM, which you see here in the top left, is so very high for the AI player. Literbot is now at 3000 APM. So that's quite a lot for having only a bunch of SCVs and one Marine.
Yeah, well, that's because of the mining algorithm. As in, my bot is optimizing the path it takes to the mineral fields. Well,
Hmm.
still not the most optimal path, but it's much better than the default path. You can sometimes also see SVs dancing around mineral fields, waiting for them to
Hmm.
the queue to leave. And that way, the minerals, total amount of minerals gathered, is
Hmm.
significantly higher. Not really that significantly, actually. It's about 5% more or so. But
Okay.
still, it's more than the default pathfinding can do.
Yes. So for my figures, how many actions per minute are you using currently for that mining algorithm you spoke of?
Well, it's most of those APM you see there, it's for the mining algorithm. But that's
Hmm.
mainly because I haven't really optimized those actions yet. As in a lot of those actions are spamming to click on a mineral field, which isn't really ideal.
Oh, and the first probe nearly gets shot down. By this time, it looks like Literbot is going for 4 Marines out of the barracks and then an academy and a factory. Let's have a look at what the Protoss, the human player, is doing. We now see a dragoon coming up to the wall and firing on a depot. The Marines, though, chase it off, so that's a bit of a standoff. And if we look at the Protoss base, we see 2 gates coming up and dragoon range finishing. So that will give the Dragoons an advantage over the Marines behind the wall.
Yeah, that's true. It's a standard two-gate goon range build. It's a bit aggressive, but with the wall that Leaderbot built, Leaderbot can easily hold out that rush. So it won't be that much of a problem. And
Okay.
the SVs are also pulled off to repair any damage done to the buildings.
Yeah.
And Leaderbot also has the high ground, so in general,
Okay.
Leaderbot will be able to hold this
We
rush.
see that now. We've got 4 Marines repelling 2 Dragoons, and the Dragoons retire. And now there is a medic coming up, so that's I think Litterbot is safe for the moment, especially with the siege tank and siege mode coming up.
Yep, the siege tank is out right now. My 5-minute time mark.
Okay, well,
It's
just you're 5 seconds ahead of me.
okay. Yeah.
Okay, we've got 3 Dragoons now, and they're being fought back by 4 Marines with the medic and the siege tank.
Yeah, so this is like it started out as a standard siege expand opening, which is something human players do as well. It's pretty standard so far, but now you can see the deviation going on. There are some barracks being built, so this is a very aggressive build from Neederbot. It's
Okay.
the one that she also uses in the tournament currently going on at the Student StarCraft tournament 2016. You can see that built in action as well against some bots.
Okay, so 2 more barracks. I take it will push out soon with the 2 tanks and the Marines with the medics.
Well, yeah,
Oh, and
it
the
has to.
Marines. Oh no, 1 Marine gets picked off. And the Dragoons, they catch another, but now 2 siege tanks are up, and the Dragoons take a lot of damage. They now leave the natural. And I think if we look at the Protoss base, what is going on, more pylons being built, robotics facility finishing up, and that's about it really. I think Neustadt is about to take a Nexus in the natural, and yeah, plops it down. Oh,
Yeah,
and 3 Dragoons get killed. Neustadt is not paying attention and the siege tank take a huge toll. Now 3 tanks and a marine moving out versus only 5 Dragoons. I don't think you... Oh, Neustadt is really a bit careless with the Dragoons there. That's not good.
yeah, but the thing you have to keep in mind though is that Neustadt still has more supply, of course, and so he can still come back from this if he has good micro.
Yeah.
But Neustadt is like a C minus player, which is your slightly average player on IC Cup. So if he has, so it's a question about whether or not he has the micro to pull this off.
Yes, but he's only got 2 gateways, a third now finishing. And there are tanks. Oh, there are no marines left, so it's only medics with tanks. That's not the ideal combination, of course. But Litterbot is bringing out the pressure. And we've got a shuttle too.
Well, yeah, but it's only got Dragoon and Zealot in it. And with the Marines close by, the shuttle cannot really do that much damage because the shuttle can be taken down. And as you can see, the Marines and the Firebat easily take down the Zealot trying to take down the tank.
Okay, well, Neustadt is under huge pressure. And the tanks do get damaged. Might be nice to bring out... Oh, there is an SCV actually which is going to repair the tank, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
there
that's
it
something
goes.
that is something that bots do a lot, especially Terran bots. They bring out units to repair on the field, which is something that professional players that do it as well, but it's quite APM intensive.
Yeah,
But for bots, that's not a problem. They can just easily micro hit and run while repairing units at the same time.
yeah.
Now
If we
there's a
look at
reef
the
out.
APM difference, Litterbot is now at 1700 and Neustadt is at only 10% of that. First reef route now in a shuttle, that will be interesting to see. But versus the siege tanks, that will be hard to do to micro that well.
Yeah, but the reaver is mainly useful for destroying the so-called M&M composition, which is the Marines and Medics. And for that, it will be very useful because one scab can easily take down like 8 Marines if you get a good hit
Yeah,
off.
but it looks like there are too many tanks out there, and Neustadt is under a huge amount of pressure.
Well, oh, he takes on a tank with it, so oh, a huge amount of Marines as well.
Okay, 2 Reavers now closing in on the Terran army, and they're going to let fly. 1 tank dies, and oh, that Scarab took out, you said like 8 Marines, and I think that were 8 Marines taken out all in one shot. Now 2 Reavers versus the Marines and the tanks. Ooh, and they, just in time, they get back loaded up into shuttle. But now there are siege tanks in the mineral line of Neustadt, and the AI player, Litterbot, is looking in a good position to take the game.
Yes, so far the micro has really paid off, and
Ooh,
well,
1
as
Reaver
you
dies. That's not
check,
good.
yeah, I mean, as a matter of fact, if you look at the Neustadt and his total amount of minerals and gas,
Mm-hmm.
you can easily see that Leaderbot has a much better macro. Because Leaderbot spends almost all of his minerals almost immediately, and Neustadt still has like 300 minerals or so, and 2 gateways are not producing.
Mm-hmm.
So simply put, Leaderbot has the multitasking, and
Yeah.
Neustadt, he's not a very experienced player yet, so he kind of lacks that. So that really hurt him
Okay.
really a lot.
Yeah. And the Reaver is cornered now. It's got a lot of kills, but there is just too much going on inside the base of Neustadt. And now with the tank in range of the topmost corner of the map, I think that Shuttle and Reaver have nowhere to hide. Ooh, 2 more Zealots try to do something, but they get killed. And oh, the Reaver just makes it out with about... How many... Oh, with about 40 hit points. And he must have an amazing amount of kills, but... In the end, I think that the Shuttle will now go down. Oh, and the Shuttle makes it out of there with 5 hit points. That's incredible. And then flies over a Marine, so that's about it. Neustadt has no more minerals and calls the GG. First game for the AI. That's quite impressive. Congratulations, Martin.
Yeah, well, it's a C- player. It's not really the biggest achievement in the world,
No,
but
but still.
still. So the main thing to take away, of course, from that is, of course, that the AI, the bot, can multitask a lot better, and because of that, it can easily keep its macro up. So
Yep.
even though the Reaver did a lot of damage, Leaderbot could just keep on putting units to the base of the enemy, and kept on doing that. And because of that, it's even though efficiently it wasn't very good,
But it got the
uh,
job done.
it got the job done because of the multitasking, because Leaderbot was able to hit and run and keep its tanks alive through repairing,
Yeah.
all the while still macroing at the same time. So
Okay.
that's against a C- player who isn't very good at that sort of stuff at the same time.
Yeah.
But the next replay is Leaderbot versus Fisheye.
Yep.
And now we're going to take on a C+ player who is good at that sort of stuff. And then you
Okay.
can see the difference.
Yeah. I'm
All
going
right?
to stick it in. Are you ready?
Yep.
2, 1, go.
Go faster speed.
And now
Okay.
we've got Litterbot as the purple Terran. At the other end of the map, we've got another Protoss, and it's called Fisheye.
Yeah, he's brown, right? Brown.
Yeah.
He's a brown Protoss, right?
Oh, what did I say?
Fisheye, yeah, Fisheye versus Leaderbot, is it?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, yeah, so good.
Okay,
So
must
this
be
is the next
colorblind,
scene.
sorry.
Yeah, it's purple for Leaderbots and brown for Fisheye. Okay,
Okay.
so before we go on, it's of course the sponsor time. It's Zachtronics Industries, and they've released a new game, and this time it's Shenzhen IO, which is well, the best way to describe it is it's a puzzle kind of game where you have to program circuits, not really like real life programming, more like a very toy language, but it's still a very useful game to teach you how to program. It's a more introductory kind of fun way to learn how to program. So it's a new game that's out from Zachtronics. You can buy it on Steam right now, and yeah, you can definitely check that one out. There are also some other games that he created, also in the same vein of this fun way to teach you how to program. They all teach a bit of different concepts. Like Space Camp is more about multi-threaded thinking, whereas the most accessible one is perhaps Infinifactory. Like if you want to start out somewhere, you might as well start out with Infinifactory. That's very easy to understand. It's a bit like Minecraft, very blocky, but instead of mining, you build your factories, assembly lines.
Okay.
And it also teaches you the basic concepts of programming, but not without any programming. So that's also a fun way to learn. So yeah, but anyway, in general, just check out Zachtronic Industries games. Those ones will give you a fun way of learning how to program.
Yeah. And if you ever get really good at it, you might even take up coding AIs like this one, called Litterbot as the purple Terran in the corner. Again, starting out with the Wolof and the barracks first, meanwhile lots of SCVs. At the other end, the Protoss going for an equal amount of probes and gateway first, then a very fast cyber core. Looks like it's going to be Dragoon pressure again. What do you think?
Yeah, that's pretty standard. Like the thing about even if you have a bot in a game, there's
Mm-hmm.
still a meta that's kind of similar to human games, because even though you have a slightly more efficient mineral gathering rate, because of mineral gathering algorithm, it's only like, you know, like 5%, if that. 5%, like 5% is like the top that you can get. So you're still constrained in your build orders in the sense that the total amount of minerals that you have limits your options, just like a human player would, because these computers don't get any bonuses in the minerals that they gather. It's just that my pathfinding algorithm has a little bit of a better choice, but otherwise you still have to follow the same build orders in the same sense. So going for a standard one gate, like Fisheye is currently doing, it's pretty reasonable to do.
Okay. So now chasing off the SCV with the goon.
And oh yeah, looks like my SV's, yeah, my SV gets a pro kill, but not that significant, but still very funny.
Oh. And yeah, one down and finally dies itself. That's a pity. Now it's all about what's going to come next. Litterbot is looks like to do the same build as it did the previous game, with the academy, with the factory, and a lot of SCVs. For one base, that's a lot of SCVs.
Well, in general, if you play human versus human, you see it as well. You usually saturate the mineral line, even if you go for a rush like this, because you can still reinforce your army, or if necessary, pull back and expand and play with a slight loss and try to recoup from there. Leaderboard doesn't really do that. I've set it to just purely attack and not recoup anywhere. Just try and see how a player would deal with this. And as you can see, a C- player has a huge trouble with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even if he knows it's coming, it's still difficult, because normally what you would do is exactly what Neustadt did, as in you build a reaver to deal with the medics and marines.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a micro to pull it off, then you still lose.
Okay, so now the two dragoons are coming in, trying to do some damage to the depot, and the four marines come in to defend, like in the previous game.
Yeah,
And this time the dragoons stand their ground, they fire at the marines, but now medic pops out, and I don't think a single marine has been killed as yet.
no, that's also partly to do due to the high ground advantage. If you shoot from the low ground to the high ground, you have a 50% chance or so to miss. I don't know the exact number.
I
Somewhere
think
around 50.
70%.
Oh yeah,
So you
like
got a
that. Yeah.
30% chance to miss.
That's the exact number. Yeah.
Okay, and now the first marine dies, and all of a sudden it's, oh, the second dies as well. So these three dragoons of Fish Eyes are much more aggressive and much better micro than those of Neustadt. But now with the tank, surely they can't hold out. They kill one more marine, take some damage, and then retreat to the bridge.
Yeah, definitely. So as you can see, that you can definitely see that Fisheye is a much better player. He's able to make sure that his dragoons do as much damage as possible. But as soon as those dragoons lose their shields, he pulls them back immediately, and that way they can regenerate the shields without losing too much hit points.
Yep.
So they're now in yellow hit points, but they still got the shields regenerating right now.
Yeah. And you can also see in the Protoss main base, we still got the shuttle with the Reaver, but it's much faster. And we've got the gates and we've got the expansion up already. So this build order of Fish Eyes is the same, but it's much better executed.
Yeah, definitely. It's much more, and you can see as well, he has much better macro as well. And
Okay. So here comes the push.
yeah.
And now the Dragoons come in and they try to take on the tanks. They kill one, two, and not a Dragoon has died as of yet. So this is much better Goon Micro by Fisheye.
Oh yeah, definitely. So as I said before, if you have the micro to pull it off, you could be able to hold this. You can hold off this kind of push. But leaderboard still has, of course, this high APM, so anything can still happen, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it can, but it's not really grouping its units anymore, and we've got a shuttle with a Reaver on the way right now. It's just leaving the natural of the Protoss, and behind that we've got one more gateway coming up, we've got an observatory, one more Reaver coming, and the small pylon at the... Oh, look at that. couple of goons die. Sorry to have missed that, but now we've got a Reaver out on the battlefield taking on this siege tank. And oh, it's oh, that was really sloppy by Fisheye. Lost the Reaver for no reason, no good reason. Killed a tank, but at this moment, the Marines are out with the Firebats, with the siege tank, and Fisheye is losing goons. That is not good because Litterbot, although it's behind in supply and has only got one base, is very, very aggressive.
Yeah, but the thing is, you have to keep in mind is that Fisheye already has his Nexus all completely up and running in his natural expansion.
Yep.
So right now, Fisheye can produce more units than Leaderbot. So
Okay, so now the Marines and the Firebat arrive at the choke of the natural. Siege tank sieges, and the Marines try to get to grips with the Dragoons. Dragoons firing, and where is it? The shuttle with the Reaver should come to help, but it's lagging in the back of the base. 4 Dragoons going for the siege tank, and the tank dies, but there is more coming from Leaderbot. So again, the human player under lots and lots of pressure.
yeah, it's not as one-sided as you might think it is. So it's still a lot of back and forth. But with good Reaver Micro, Fisheye should be able to hold this.
Okay, so now the Reaver drops. Oh, and the first Scarab kills 2 of the medics, and that's a huge amount of damage. So I don't think that Litterbot will be able to sustain this push. That Scarab went completely wild.
Alright, so looks like the Weaver indeed did push back, but Leaderbot recovered and so right now is pushing towards natural again.
Yeah, 1 tank, 4 Marines, 1 medic, and more coming up from the rear. Now we've got a shuttle with 2 Reavers, and all the gateways are producing. Fisheye is spending his money much better than was Neustadt in the previous game.
Yeah.
Oh, and with 2 Scarabs, that siege tank got one-shotted just by... oh, look at that. 1 pylon goes down, but it's now Marines versus Reavers, and as a Marine, it's not a fight you want to take, really.
Yeah, okay, so with the pylon destroyed, Fisheye is now supply blocked, but he's got enough Dragoons and Reavers to hold off any kind of push that comes from Leaderbot. Like, even if Leaderbot tries to recoup right now and take his natural expansion, he would have too much trouble with that because Fisheye is now enough units to counter push, really.
Yeah, this is not looking good for Litterbot right now.
Yeah,
You
so
said
here,
earlier that you programmed an aggressive strategy. Can Litterbot at this point do anything to get back into the game?
well, I've set them to not do anything but attack, of course. But even if I set them to then go and
Oh,
try to take natural expansion, right now
yeah,
it would not be a good idea anyway
okay.
because you
No,
would lose
there's the
regardless.
GG. So 1 game for the human players and 1 for Litterbot. Let's wrap up during the start of the next game. Going to start the 3rd replay, which will be TSUMU Protoss against the first human player, Neustadt again. Are you ready, Martin?
Yeah, it's the same.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, and faster speed.
And
Okay.
there we go again.
And this is TSUMU Protoss, who's currently also playing in the Student StarCraft AI tournament. It's in the top 16. Well, the matches are still ongoing, of course, so I don't know exactly which one. But it's not top 3, I guess. No, not top 3. It's somewhere in the top 16, definitely.
Yeah. No, that's true. TSUMU has been working very hard, but he hasn't been working on his bot. He has been working on something called Open Brood War, which is basically a duplicate of the game, but with better internal mechanics, so you can run it in parallel and you can run thousands of games if you've got the computing power, all in a very short time span. So for those of our AI researchers who are doing things like learning or genetic branching, it will be a very great asset once it gets finished.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, they already got the replay section working for Terran versus Terran, last time I checked. So you can watch replays in your browser if you have the bootwar files and StarCraft files. So the .mpq files, if you have those, if you install bootwar, you already have them. then you can watch a replay in your browser without having to install Bootvor itself. That's the power of open source Bootvor,
Okay.
which TSMU is building on. And somebody else as well. I don't know his real name. I think it was Imp, right?
Yeah, Imp's doing the PR for Open Brood War, but I don't think he's actually involved in the coding itself.
Okay, I don't know exactly how it works yet. I haven't looked that much into it.
Hmm.
But anyway, in terms of the back to the game, so this is Protoss versus Protoss. The blue bot is TSMU Protoss, and I used my own username on IceCup, but don't be mistaken. This is not Leaderbot. Leaderbot still only plays Terran. This is the Protoss bot from TSMU, who is currently also working on an open source clone of Woodwar.
Yep.
Yep.
And we've got our first human player called Neustadt. Again, going for the same opening, so gateway first, but building a zealot this time.
Yeah, that's pretty standard in Protoss versus Protoss.
Okay. Well,
And TSMU is going for a Dragoon opening, which is also possible. So pretty standard openings, as you might expect, because the thing, as I said before, the thing about bot games is that they still are constrained by the same uh, game rules as human players do. So the meta is kind of similar in the sense that you will see those standard build orders just like you would in a human player, but the unit composition might be slightly different due to the micro capabilities that these bots have. But otherwise, the build order, especially initially, the build order is usually very similar to human players.
hmm. Yeah, well, we're going to find out how it's going to go. The probe of Neustadt is going at the gateway. Of course, won't kill it at all, hasn't got the damage for that. And we now see two human zealots advancing upon the Protoss base of TSMU Protoss.
Yeah, but T-Smooth has got a Dragoon out. And the thing about Dragoons is that they are range units that can do the hit and run micro. And yeah, if there's one thing that bots can do very, very well, if they don't get stuck with buff finding, of course, and it's of
No.
course the hit and run, because they can do that indefinitely without getting tired, and they can do that for each unit individually if they want. And if they don't spam the APM buffer and get stuck like my bot sometimes does, as in,
Okay.
yeah, that's basically the. For those who are wondering about an APM limit, there is one internally in the engine itself. If you spam too much APM, then commands won't get processed anymore.
Okay, but I've seen bots do 50,000 APM, so I don't think that internal game limit is reached very easily.
Yeah, my bot has reached it several times, even
Okay.
during this 2016 tournament.
Okay, so now you can see we've got one zealot in the mineral line being engaged by all the probes and one dragoon. At the other end, we've got two zealots going at one badly damaged dragoon at the ramp. And TSC is microing it individually. And the human player comments on that. He said, "Oh my god, Goso." And I think he means Gosu, which means Korean for
God,
pretty good.
godlike. Yeah, so it's a pretty standard zealot opening versus dragoon, where you've got the micro York dragoons against the zealot. And with the micro bot, there were some micromanagement mistakes a little bit because the T-Smooth kept running into some zealots. I think it has to do with the latency which we were playing on, because we
Yeah.
weren't playing with land latency.
Well, that
So
right
because of that,
dragoon is
yeah,
badly messed up, it seems.
yeah. But the probe micro is quite interesting to see, and also is very useful for holding off any kind of zealot rush. So pretty good so far from TSMU. Even without land latency, it's still good micro.
Yeah, and why is that so important for AIs compared to humans that they've got land latency? What's the big difference?
They don't necessarily need it. It's just that the thing is that bots can make much better use of the reaction time that they have. After all, as you might imagine, bots have much better reaction time,
Hmm.
and so. But the limiting factor there, once you have such high reaction time, is of course the latency, the time it takes for your commands to actually get processed. So the
Okay,
lower that is, the more you benefit from a high from your high reaction time as a bot, so to speak.
okay. So now we've got three blue dragoons of TSC Moose. Two are a little bit damaged. At the other end of the map, we've got the same three dragoons. And what's following? behind this, I think we've got a robo facility coming, so perhaps more Reaver play.
Yeah,
TSU instead of a robotics facility opting for the expansion. So
yeah,
this is the first divergence in build orders we see. Interested to see how it's going to pan out.
yeah. So as you might expect from such a build, the purple human player is going for a very aggressive build, and TSMU is going for a more economic opening. So TSMU has to be on the defensive right now. Yeah, as long as he can hold off the push that the human player is going to do, TSMU is going to be ahead. But that of course requires him to hold off that push.
Okay, so the human player is building more Dragoons. They've got the range. And of course, we are now seeing a shuttle being built and a Reaver. So the human player will have a big advantage in Dragoons and the shuttle with a Reaver. Question is, can TSMU fight them off simultaneously?
Uh, well, the thing is with Protoss vs Protoss, since it's a mirror matchup, micro is very, very important, much more so than in the other Protoss matchups. So, especially the Groom micro. So, Groom micro is the defining feature of Protoss vs Protoss, along with Storms and Reaver drops, of course.
Yes.
But especially in the early game, like now, the Groom micro is the key to winning.
Okay, and we now see
Oh,
the Reaver
concave.
being built, and 3 Dragoons are up in the third of TSMU's and are not defending. That might cost
No,
them the
no, no,
game.
it's a concave. TSMU is currently doing a concave, and as you can see, it's very effective because TSMU has currently flanked the human player, and as you can see, the purple goons are all dying out
Oh,
now.
now they are joining battle. That's really good. Human player loses 1 Dragoon and another one. TSMU losing goons himself. The 3 from the third are being attacked, are cut down. And underway is now the shuttle with the Reaver. So even if Neustadt doesn't really get the upper hand in the goon battle, which it looks like he isn't,
No,
that's
no,
still the shuttle with the Reaver underway to help save the day for the human race.
exactly. But the thing is that that Dragoon battle that you saw, the TSMU was flanking, which is a very good strategy, of course, in general, and that's quite an advanced tactic, especially for Buddha bots. It's
Oh,
not
and
very
now the
easy to
Reaver is in the mineral line. He's letting
uh-oh.
go. Oh, and that was a huge scarab hit. That was really, really good. Unfortunately, the human player loses a Dragoon. Oh, and another shot. 4 kills already. Oh, that must be another 4, 7. 7 kills for the Reaver, and the shuttle is dead. But it is now, the goons don't really dare to get in there to save the probes, and the
Yeah,
probes are taking a beating.
yeah. So if DSC move forward us would have
Oh
been able to,
god, all the probes.
yeah.
Oh
So
god, this is painful.
yeah, so if these move forward us would have been able to just attack move that Reaver, he would have won the game basically because of his good micro. But unfortunately, this one is really to showcase that even though they've got good micro, the bots sometimes they get stuck somewhere somehow. I don't know exactly why in
Oh
this case.
god.
That's why he loses. Otherwise,
Yeah.
he would have had this game. That's the thing.
Oh, that's a pity.
Yeah.
That must be at least 15 probes and 10 dragoons taken down by one Reaver.
Yes. But the reason why I still picked this replay is because of that flanking attack that Team Porters did at the big game before the Reaver attack.
Yeah, that was pretty
And
good.
that one was very, very, very good. That's a very advanced strategy. And that really showcases that some of these bots do have much more than just APM to their name. They can actually perform things like flanking attacks.
Okay.
So there is more to bots than just having a lot of APM. Like, as a matter of fact, a lot more. Just high APM. There are plenty of bots in the student StarCraft tournaments right now that have even more, have a lot of APM, have a lot of good micro, but they still are number one. Not even close. Actually, some
Uh,
of them are actually even all the way down to the bottom, despite having good micro.
oh god, that Reaver, I do want to see how many kills it's got, because it must be a huge number. 37 kills in the early game. That's quite good.
Yeah. So so Team Portos still has a bit of problem with dealing with Reavers. That's a bit unfortunate, But otherwise, the Goo Micro from Team Borders is actually quite good. Quite good.
Okay. Shall we call this game a GG and a victory for the human player? Move on to the next?
Yeah, go on to the next.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, GG! Like a pro Korean commentator. And we move on into the next game, which
Last
will
one for
be
today, yeah.
Killerbot versus Fisheye. So another AI versus the second human player. Are you ready?
Yeah. And just started?
Okay, let's go. Load. Yep, there we go. So again, human player Fisheye playing as Protoss once more. At the other end of the map, as the red Zerg, we've got Killerbot.
Yeah. Named after the Zerg player Killer. Because Killer is a Korean Zerg player who plays Zerg. And I don't know if that one is known for its lurker play, but the Killer bot definitely is known for its lurkers. But against Protoss, I think it does Hydras instead. After all, Hydras are much more effective. Maybe it builds a lurker or two, but in Zerg vs Protoss, you generally want Hydras as a Zerg player.
Okay, well, we're going to see which build order it will pick. And of course, Killerbot won last year's Student StarCraft AI Tournament finals, beating a Protoss player 3-0 in the finals.
Yeah, definitely. It's quite a good bot. It even plays in the 2016 tournament. It has been updated recently as well. And well, it even beat my bot once in the 2016 tournament, but it's not at the number one spot anymore.
No,
It's, let me check where it's right now.
no,
It
it's down a
is
bit.
right now
6th
at,
or 7th.
no, fifth or sixth. Yeah, somewhere. Like right now in the tournament, it's still ongoing, of course, but right now it's at the fifth or like sixth place. So it's still quite a decent bot, huh?
Okay, and we won't be showing you the standings at the moment, but guess who is at number 1?
Yeah, well, who knows?
Okay, so well, you had a good run last year. Unfortunately, you didn't quite make it until the end.
Yeah, that was the four-pool defense, which actually still is a bit of a problem right now because I did lose one game against Chris Choke again, but apparently Chris Choke has updated his bot, so and the replay wasn't showing, so I don't know exactly why my bot lost to Chris Choke this time. But anyway, in this game itself, it's a early pool with a hatchery. It's and Fisheye is going for a gateway first, which is not really all that standard. Usually you go for a forge fast expand. You build the forge first and then the gateway. So this is a much more aggressive opening, which well, let's see what the Killabot does with this aggressive opening.
Yeah, going to see what happens. I think the verse salad just went underway, and Killerbot is waiting for his natural hatchery to finish up and the spawning pool. So until those finish, though, that salad will have free reign of the Zerg base.
That is true, but the spawning pool was built relatively early compared to the standard 12 hatch. So even though he's got a zealot right now in the base, the zerglings are popping out pretty soon, so the zealot won't be doing that much damage. Perhaps a
Okay, one drone
drone kill or
going
two.
down. That's already very good. And now the Zerglings hatch. And I doubt that the Zealot will get many more drone kills. Although the second one is on the way.
Yeah, okay, so the zealot did 50 mineral damage to the drone, and he killed one zergling, so that would be like 75 mineral damage plus some mine time lost. It's They are trading about even right now.
Yep.
Well, slightly in favor of Fisheye, as you might expect from a C plus player, but it's still pretty much anyone's game right now. Anyone's game, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and he lost the second Zealot as well.
Oh, Killabot going for a very fast third hatch. A bit of a risky play, but if he can properly defend it, then it will pay off.
Okay, and Killerbot now going for the throat. Two Zealots in the choke. They're killing so many Zerglings. And the cannon is finishing up, so I don't think that Killerbot notices it and pulls back the last four lings.
Yeah, that's quite a decent decision making to pull back. Of course, he should have realized maybe that there was a bit of a choke point right there and that those zealots would hold it off easily. But, well, I mean, if Killabot can defend this third hatchery, he's still in this game easily.
Okay, yeah. And those links keep running in and out, just trying to have a look every once in a while to see if the Protoss is moving
Putting
out or
pressure.
if the defenses are upgraded.
They're mainly putting pressure on the Protoss to defend his own base. After all, what you want if you expand very fast like this is you want the Protoss to be forced to keep inside of his own base. That way you can really reap the benefits of those fast expansions.
Yep. So now more Zerglings are joining the contain. And behind that, the third is finishing up, 4 kilobot. Another hatchery being placed in the natural and gas being taken. So at this point, it's basically only aggression and drones, Zerglings and overlords and infrastructure. So no technology yet for the AI player.
Uh, let's see. So yeah, lots of hatcheries, lots of Zerglings. But against Zealots, you want to have a lot of Zerglings.
Yeah, and now the Zealots are moving out, 4 of them. And there are many Zerglings coming up, so I don't think that Killabot will have any trouble holding this at all.
No, Killabot will, especially with the sunken in his natural, he will hold this push off easily.
And a lot of drones, 22 drones already. Protoss player, 31 probes, but the Protoss army is very small at this moment.
Yeah, that's true, but he can still defend his base. As you can see, he can pull probes to defend his own natural base. And he's
Okay,
attacking
and
the
now,
turret right now, and the turret has a sunken, so the damage will be limited in the turret, hopefully.
okay, now the Zealot spotted, and there is an attack going at the natural of the human player. The Zerglings there won't come through, and the Sunken is being engaged at the third. One Zealot dies, the probe is coming out to help, more Zerglings pouring in, and I don't even think that the Zealots will take down the Sunken. So this is a bit of a victory for the Zerg player, I should say.
Well, he did sacrifice some Zerglings to put on a little bit more pressure on the Protoss base. So in terms of supply, Zerg's now at 41 and the Protoss is at 49. As you might expect from a fast third expansion, Zerg is a little bit behind right now, but he is saturating the main and the natural and the third. So, and he also has a Hydralisk den.
Yep.
So we're going to see a lot of Hydras pretty soon. He's going, yeah, the Zerg is going to take advantage of its third expansion. Its third base as in third base. Pretty soon, yeah.
Okay. So +1 weapons finishing up for Protoss. That will put an end to the Zergling threat. But as you see, the human player is building a lot of Zealots, and that's pretty good against Zerglings, but against Hydras, it's not the best choice, I would say.
That really depends on the upgrades, though. After all, also depends on if the Zerg player can take advantage of choke points, because Hylisks are ranged units, and if you can funnel those zealots into a choke point like a ramp, then your Hylisk will definitely be much more cost effective. But on the open battlefield, like in the middle of the map, for example, you really are better
Oh,
off with
fourth
circuits.
base taken by the Zerg player, and on the off chance, 6 Zealots find it and will take it down. Will it get cancelled? Oh no, it doesn't get cancelled, so that's a lot of money wasted for Zerg.
Yeah, that's a bit of a setback for the Zerg player, but he's still in this game. He still has more base than the Protoss, which is a good thing. So he can still get this bit of decent micro. Zerg can still come back.
Okay, so that's a lot of Zerglings. We've now got 24 Zerglings versus the Zealots, and the Zealots got the +1 weapons upgrade, so they have a big advantage at this moment. There are some Hydras being produced at the back of this, but until those... Oh, and the Zerglings come in, but the Zealots cut them all down. That's pretty... Well, you've got to do something to delay those Zealots. And now the Hydras pop. There are 2 at the natural, but there is also a force of Zealot at the third. They cut down uh-oh, they cut down the sunken and are now after the probes. The drones are being evacuated, but it's not enough. And now the Zerg main army is flooding every which way, but a lot of Lings are chasing one Zealot. Meanwhile, a lot of Zealots are taking out the Hydra Den in the third, and the Hydra numbers aren't big enough yet to take down these Zealots. So there goes the Hydra Den, another sunken being morphed, but it's not in the right position. Two Zealots blocking off the ramp, being taken down now by the Hydras. More Hydras streaming in, but at the top end, more Zealots are coming into the natural. So now the third is being saved, but the natural will be under attack soon.
Yeah, and this is what you might expect from a C plus level player. He's very proactive in finding out any kind of expansions, where they are, and he took down like the bottom left one, and he was very aggressive in putting on pressure on the natural, all the while attacking same time at the turrets. So it's overall quite good from a C plus player.
Yeah, and behind this he went for a Templar Archives and a third base, so now he's got dominance of the Zerg natural. There is tech coming up, and he's got a big army advantage.
Yeah, this is basically the Protestants one right now. So yeah, this is definitely here you can see the skill difference once again. This is a C plus player. So and the C plus player is not easily fooled by things like hidden expansions.
No.
Killerbot in the actual tournament from the team league defeated a C or C minus level player by doing the same kind of strategy of taking a lot of expansions. And C minus player is not very, even if he knows about it, it's not really all that capable of really taking advantage of doing multi-pronged attacks, things like that. But C plus player, as you can see, can easily take down a Zerg with this strategy, even if it's played by a bot with a lot of micro.
Okay, so now we've got the main with a huge number of drones, but there is also a high Templar coming up, and I think with one Storm he can kill so many drones. The drones are fighting for their lives, but against +1 Zealot it's really not something you'd like to do as a drone.
Now they are buying time for the Sunkens, so right now the Sunken is just about to pop, but the drone loss is a little bit too much to come back really.
No, these drone losses are atrocious. And the third is being carved up by a couple of Zealots and an Archon. The natural is down, the only thing there is a sunken colony still morphing. Oh no, it's a creep colony as of yet. There is no money to make it into a sunken colony because all the drones are gone. And now it's just Zealots and an Archon versus a lot of defenseless buildings. That's too bad.
Yeah. So this is pretty much GG. We're gonna call it right now. Yeah, we'll just put it on fastest times 4 or 3, 2, something like that.
Okay.
And
So
then
these were the show matches for the Zachtronics Man vs Machine Team League.
yeah, for the in combination with the SSAI, I took some bots from the SSAI and set them up against human players in that team league. We
Okay.
might do some more. Maybe I'll do some more, but we'll see about that. This is it for now. You can check out Zachtronics games where you can have fun games which will teach you how to program as well on top of it. Very fun to check out. Zachtronic games, you can find the games on Steam. The newest game is, of course, Shenzhen IO. But for people who are just starting out, Infinity Factory is the game to start out with. It's the most easiest one. So definitely check those out as well. And of course, check out the Student StarCraft AI tournament, which is currently ongoing. And you have anything else to add, Navata?
No, I'm set and done. Thank you for these
Yeah,
matches. We've got 1 AI victory and 3 for the humans. So thank you for casting with me, and if there's nothing else, I think I say goodbye.
yeah, goodbye.
Okay, bye bye.